Hey guys, Shane here with One Shift at a Time, and we're back again. It is episode 23 of the NHL Power Rankings, and this season is flying away. We're coming down at the end real quick, and things are starting to tighten up. But there's been some movement this weekend. We got to start with some of that. Number 10 down 6 spots this week. We got the Calgary Flames, and they lost all 3 games. Since that big win over Edmonton, they lost to the Habs, they lost to the Kings, and St. Louis. These are all good teams. Granted, they are all good teams, but if they're going to make noise in the playoffs, these are teams you're going to have to beat. So they definitely dropped big time this week. We'll see. They are starting the California road trip, which has been bad for them in the past. They really need a good one this time. That's going to start Monday in LA. Number 9, and they're down 2 spots this week. It is the Tampa Bay Lightning. They went 2-2 this week, which doesn't sound so bad, but other teams just had better weeks. And honestly, they had wins over New York Islanders and Chicago, which isn't that impressive, but they did lose to Carolina and, more concerningly, to Montreal. So just the results weren't bad, but it was more who it was to, and it was kind of scary. So I'm sure they'll be fine. I mean, this is Tampa Bay. They've won the last 2 Stanley Cups. I'm sure they're going to be fine. They're going to take on the Leafs tomorrow, so we'll see how they do. Number 8, and they're slowly moving up. They went up 1 spot this week, and it is the Edmonton Oilers. Yes, some good play, I guess. It's the scoring is there. There's no doubt about that. They scored 16 goals in 3 games, but in 2 of those 3 games went overtime. That is not a good sign. It's not just goaltending too. It's the defense in general that needs to improve in Edmonton if they're going to have any chance of making a good run in the playoffs. It's unlikely to score 6 goals a game. If any team could do it, it probably is the Edmonton Oilers though. But we'll see. They're also heading down on that same California road trip, but they start in Anaheim tomorrow. So we'll see. Number 7, and they're up a spot again this week, and that is the Minnesota Wild. They won 3 of 4 this week, and man, they're solid wins. They had wins over the Avs, the Flyers, and the Carolina Hurricanes. Their only loss was the Penguins, who was, again, another good team who should almost be on this list. Again, they just missed out because they went 2-2, and one was a big win. But again, quality of opponents. The Minnesota Wild, though, their only loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins before we got sidetracked there was in overtime, so they still got a point out of that. And since they've got Marc-Andre Fleury, this is a legitimate playoff threat. We'll see. We'll see if they can make some noise. Number 6, and they're going to be in the same spot as last week, and that is the New York Rangers, because they did win 3 of 4. They had wins over the Sabers, the Pens, and the Red Wings. So, I mean, 2 of those teams are not the greatest. The Pens are good, but the Sabres and Red Wings games both went to overtime, so that was kind of scary. And then they lost to their crosstown rivals, the New York Islanders, today 3-0. So, bit of a concerning week. Not enough to drop them, but it is enough to definitely not have them move up either. So we'll see if they bounce back. They do play the Flyers on Sunday at MSG, so that's a good chance for sure. And number 5, man, they had a great bounce back and a great week. From 10 to 5, it is the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were doing good for a while. They did have a bit of a rough patch there, but a solid week. They beat some really good teams. They beat the Panthers 5-2, the Bruins 6-4, and the Jets 7-3. Also beat the Flyers 6-3, but I'm not going to include them in a good team category. They outscored their opponents 24-12. Matthews hit 50 goals on the season already, so they take on the Bolts on Monday. That's going to be a great game. Number 4, and they're also up 1 spot, and that is the Boston Bruins. Their only loss coming at the hands of the Leafs, but they had wins over Columbus, a big one over New Jersey, 8-1, and they also beat the Islanders. They are the second of a home against Columbus Blue Jackets, so we'll see if they can take that one as well. Number 3, and they're also in the same spot as last week, it is the Carolina Hurricanes. They went 2-2 this week, but no other team really did enough to catch them. The only team that really didn't lose again this week in the top 10, I believe, is the Oilers. But again, we went through why they didn't move up more. They beat the Habs, the Caps, but they did lose to Tampa Bay and to the Wild. They have 2 games in a row against the Buffalo Sabers, which could be just what the doctor ordered for the Hurricanes. Number 2, and again in the same spot, and obviously that gives us the same number 1 too, but it is the Florida Panthers. They lost to the Leafs to start the week, but then they won over Montreal, Chicago. Then tonight's weird game happened, and they almost dropped. So that, yeah, they were up down 6-1 to the New Jersey Devils before they made that miraculous comeback to win 7-6. So that was kind of scary. They do play the Sabers tomorrow. So, and number one, as we said, it is the Colorado Avalanche. No team except the Oilers were perfect, I think we said, in the top 10, and the Avs were no exception. They also lost in OT to the Wild, so again, they did get that point. But then they beat the Flames, the Sharks, and the Penguins, and then they will also travel and hit that home against the Penguins. And all this is while they're battling through a lot of injuries. So hats off to Colorado. Number one again, and I think well deserved. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I love hearing your comments. I always respond to them. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're not already. And as always, we'll see you in the next episode.